Zelda speedruns, they're incredible. Do you know what is rough about them though? Understanding what is going on. There are so many glitches, so many tricks, and Majoras Mask especially has seen tons of new glitches in the past 2 years. So what I thought I'd do today is go through the entire run and explain every single trick, full Speedrun Explained, so that hopefully you will get a better understanding of what goes into this speedrun. So that being said, let's get right into it. But first, just a quick word from today's sponsor. Now, I love covering speedruns. Even as a kid, any game that had a ghoster race or a completion timer always made me attempt to do it faster, which is why I'm so excited to work with today's video sponsor, Asphalt Legends Unite. Now, if you don't know, Asphalt is a long-time running racing franchise with plenty of games under the belt, and Legends Unite is the newest installment to the franchise. It's available on all platforms. That means Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, and even mobile, while still supporting crossplay between all of them. It's entirely free to play, it has over 250 cars available, a garage to display and customize them, beautiful new graphics, new levels, but most importantly, fun and fast gameplay. Plus, if you're an older fan of the franchise, then all the progress from Asphalt 9 will carry over. So, if any of that sounds interesting to you, then please click the link in the description of this video or scan the QR code that's on the screen right now, because it really does help out the channel a lot when you get to check these games out. Plus, it's entirely free, so there's nothing you lose by checking out. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you, Assholes, for sponsoring this video. With that being said, let's get right back into it. Alright, so Majoras Mask speedrunning. For the start of this run, there isn't that much to explain. Unfortunately, this game has a lot of opening cutscenes. So once we get control over Link, we're gonna roll through the first section, and then we're gonna get a second cutscene, return into the Deku, talk to Majora, and we're just gonna head through some areas, fly across, teach you the Deku mechanics. Now, before we get into the first glitch, I quickly just want to give a massive shout out as well, by the way, to Pope Squidward. He provided me this VOD. I tried to do this run live initially. However, there are so many glitches in this run that I felt that it was better to have a really clean run to commentate over instead of playing at the same time. So the VOD that you're watching right now is done by Pope Squidward, so I'll have a link for him in the description of this video. So be sure to check him out as well. But that being said, let's get into the first explanation, which is Happy Mask Salesman cutscene skip. So you're going to notice that he's going to be back walking here with Deku Link and then start pause buffering his game. So a weird quirk in Majora's Mask is that almost every single cutscene in this game requires 2 frames to be initiated. So what that means is that if you pause buffer 1 frame at a time, the cutscene will never have time to start. And he's going to use that to his advantage to walk through the cutscene trigger where the Happy Mask Salesman would normally talk to you, to enter the loading zone, completely skip that 1-minute cutscene, and get straight into Termina. After we're done with that, we're now going to try and get through First Cycle. Now, if you haven't played Majora's Mask, First Cycle kind of sucks. There's really nothing to do. Even as a casual, you're blocked out of almost every side quest. You can't collect anything. You're basically just supposed to get access to the top of the clock tower where Majora will be on the 3rd day, and that's pretty much it. Get the moon tier. Now, the speedrun does not need to get the moon tier due to glitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and immediately skip to the end of the 3-day cycle as quickly as possible. So straight up, we're gonna go and talk to Grandma, and she has very long bedtime stories. And if you listen to these stories, it will skip through an entire day. So this will be used to go to 2nd day and then immediately into 3rd day. Once that has been done, we're gonna run all the way across again into the shop that will have the Scarecrow. Now, if you talk to the Scarecrow, he will ask you if you want to dance with him all the way until the night. And that will skip until basically 12 hours roughly before the moon is going to crash onto Termina. And now we can finally start to collect everything that is necessary. So the only thing we need to make sure of to be absolutely necessary to complete First Cycle is to be obtained magic, because it is the only kind of way that we can hit Majora as he's flying in the air to drop the ocarina later on. And the second thing is we still have a lot of time, because the ferry, you're going to see right here, we're going to roll over to the other, or spin over to the other side of Termina. The ferry is going to be right here, and we can now get magic. But we still got about 6 hours to spare. So what are we going to do in that meantime? Well, thankfully, there is a glitch that allows you to escape into Termina Field. How do you do it? Well, just backwalk. Because Nintendo did not put this one specific guard close enough to the edge, but there's this little gap where if you're just walking fast, you can just get out. And another beautiful little kind of oversight, since you're not supposed to get out here during first cycle, is that you have no drops other than hearts and rupees. And since we're at max health, the bushes can only drop nothing or rupees, which will result in a huge rupee gain. So you're going to see from just 2 bushes, we have 17 rupees right now. And the objective here is to get at least 90 rupees. And after getting the 90 rupees, we basically have everything that we can do. So we're going to run back in, talk to the fairy to get the magic, then walk over to the bank to put in the 90 for the second cycle. And then our second glitch of the run is coming up. Because as I'm sure you've noticed, we never got the moon tier, which is the normal kind of intended method to get to the top of the clock tower where you would go up and see Majora. So we're going to be performing a glitch known as a gainer. Now, when you backflip in Majora's Mask, it works like any other game. You're going to literally be backflipping, so you're going to be moving backwards. But there's a really cool technique that you can do, where if you untarget and retarget on the same frame that you initiate your backflip, he will backflip in place, not backwards. And that allows him, since he's in front of a ledge, to just grab the ledge and climb up. And once you do the backflip in place to grab the ledge, you can just walk up and stand by the door and wait for it to hit midnight, where then you get the cutscene and you can finally walk up to Majora. Now, in real time, this takes about 15 minutes. This is why first cycle is kind of joked upon as the worst part of Majora's Mask speedrunning. But thankfully, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're summarizing it to get into the actual run. But that being said, once you get this firework cutscene, we're gonna finish it off. We're gonna run up, see Majora. We're gonna shoot a little bubble on him, which will knock him down. You will grab the ocarina, play Song of Time to reset time, and finally get put into the second cycle. And once we're here, we are only one step away from finally basically having freedom to do whatever we want, which is to walk back into the tower, talk to the Happy Mask salesman. He will teach us the song to finally have the Deku Mask fall off of Link, and we now have control over Link, and the game is finally opened up. And this is where the run gets really exciting. Now, once we have this freedom, do you remember that 90 rupees I just mentioned that we put into the bank? That will be all the basically rupees that we'll be using throughout this run. So we're gonna pick up the 90 rupees, and once we have this, we're now going to roll up into the bomb shop. And here we're gonna buy 2 things. The bomb bag, which gives us the full set of 20, and 1 set of bomb juice. Now, if you have never watched Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask before, bomb explosions are the most broken item in the game. And we're gonna have like 3 or 4 different glitches come up all at one go here, so I'm gonna try my best to explain it. So, the first thing you need to understand is a glitch known as Infinite Sword Glitch. Now, I'm actually gonna pause here and put up some footage on this in case you don't know. Basically, if you're doing a crouch tap and you interrupt that crouch tap at a very specific frame, what you're gonna notice is that Link's sword will kind of be like having this lightsaber white effect. Now, what's actually happening is that your sword is being swung every single frame. Now, this has 2 great consequences. One is that you can output damage every single frame. But the second thing is that when Link swings his sword, he cannot fall. Meaning that if you ever go out of bounds, and then, for example, shield an explosion, he will be put in place. So what he's gonna do here is he's gonna drop a bomb, interrupt his sword slash to get Infinite Sword Glitch, and then clip out of bounds. Now, once he's at the back of this bank shop, you're gonna notice that we're gonna start getting into hovers. So we're gonna drop a bomb, we're gonna float in midair because we have Infinite Sword Glitch, and then by rolling and backflipping on a certain explosion frame, the recoil of the bomb will push Link very quickly backwards to go all the way out here. And you will notice that he hit that owl and then just voided out. So why did we hit this owl? Well, this is where, in my opinion, the biggest glitch of Majora's Mask exists, and it's almost like a rung warp if you watched Ocarina of Time. So if you ever get Song of Soaring, the travel song, right, and you've never hit an owl, the game is gonna say, hey, sorry, you have nowhere to warp to, so you can't warp. But if you hit that owl right there, that's not actually the true owl on the map. That is a fake owl for a visual to make the transition in between those 2 areas more smooth. So that unlocks warping. But most importantly, we don't have any legitimate owls to warp to. So remember that for later when we get the warp song. We have currently unlocked warping, but it's been through a fake owl. Now, once we've done all of that, we're going to do a quick glitch called a Hess. It basically lets you go through the overworld quickly to get into this grotto right here. And once we're in this grotto, we're going to be doing more bomb hovering. But here, it's for another really, really cool thing. And I'm going to put up a visual on the screen as well for this. But to save memory, Nintendo put all of these grottos in the same area, and it just doesn't load the textures of the other ones. So they're all next to each other. So by clipping out of bounds, the loading zone for another grotto exists, and this one is located in Deku Palace. So that means we can go all the way from Termina Field into Deku Palace without ever having to walk here normally. Then with some bomb hovering, we can walk up on top of this platform, roll into the loading zone, and now we've already made it to the monkey, where we can finally start to learn the first song and start our objective for the first dungeon. So now after learning this first song, we're going to walk out of Deku Palace and do a really cool little swag jump to get on top of this area where you're not supposed to. If you ever stand with Link on one of those lily pads, it will quickly be falling down into the water. But if you're standing at just the right spot and perform a roll at the perfect time, you can get a jump before it goes too underwater. It will allow us to get up here immediately, talk to the owl, and now we're gonna learn Song of Soaring. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. So after the cutscene and we learn the song, what Pope is going to do here is he's going to play Song of Soaring, but before starting to initiate it, he's going to open up his pause menu, hover over that section on the map, and then we're going to end up at Mountain Village, which we definitely haven't been to yet. So this is the beautiful power of hitting that fake owl, which is called index warping, the thing I like to call almost wrong warping. So how does that work? Well, since the game doesn't have a legitimate owl that we have hit, it does not have anywhere to put the cursor on the map to know where to warp Link to. So it does the next best thing. It looks at the last place that you had the cursor selected on the map screen in your pause menu and uses that value to decide where to warp you to. But since those values are never supposed to be used for where to warp, they do not match what you're hovering on versus where you end up. So here you're going to see that Pope just played Song of Soaring without opening up the map before. So it's going to take the value of the left side of the map, which happens to be over by the Zora area by the beach. And this is the true beauty of how we get around the speedrun very, very quickly. By just continuously playing Song of Soaring and unlocking different areas on the map, it will allow us to warp to new areas. And that is also why, by the way, he went all the way over to that Goron village just to leave. It wasn't because we needed that one bomb drop. It was because by unlocking Goron village on the map, it will allow us to warp to a different section later on in the run. Now, unfortunately, here, we have a little bit of a sad cutscene. We have the Zora. He hasn't had the best of days. Sadly, we need his mask. Sorry, homie. So we're going to push into the beach. We're going to get the Zora cutscene, pick up the mask, and then we're immediately going to do a super slide, another cool movement glitch right there that you saw. All of those are based upon the same thing. Bombs push you very quickly backwards, and if you roll at a very specific time while the explosion is going off by either shielding or by holding a position on the analog stick, you can get very quick momentum to go backwards, and we're going to use that to head over here as quickly as possible and enter the Zora Hall. Now, just like I mentioned earlier, we don't actually need to be at this area yet. We just want to enter here so that we have this little section unlocked on the map. Since by having more options on the map here, we can warp to new areas thanks to index warping. Now, right here, we're going to play Song of Soaring, and we're going to teleport all the way to Swamp Palace, where we're now going to do the first dungeon. So we're going to play the song, raise the tempo, we're going to enter this bulb, we're going to fly over the gap, land on this little ledge, and then enter the dungeon. Now, this dungeon is going to be very fast, trust me. There's basically two main objectives that we have here. Get the bow, which is very required and necessary for the run, and then defeat the boss for the remain. So we're going to backwalk right here, which is just a little bit of a faster movement, and you can actually just barely backflip onto this wooden pillar without having to fly over here. Once we've done that, we're going to fly to the end of here, and then enter the kind of main hall or main area of the dungeon. Now, at this point, we're going to play Song of Double Time, and this is going to be to set up some time for later. After Song of Double Time, we're going to enter the first room, take out the bombs and the bomb juice, and then we're going to do some more hovering. And this is just so that we can land on this tiny little lantern right there, so that we can get on top of this ledge. Because normally you'd have to go through a bunch of rooms to get up to the second floor ledge here. But by doing that bomb boost, we can get up here. And this is where the mini boss for the dungeon is. This is halfway through the dungeon, and it's all been skipped by just one little bomb boost. Then we're going to fight this boss. Thankfully, even with just normal sword slashes, it's just very fast. He has no damage. It's the first dungeon of the game. You know, this is kind of like the tutorial. So take him down, open up the chest, where we're finally going to get the bow, the first good item in the run. What we want to do now is go to the end of this dungeon. But if you were to follow the end of bounds areas, this would be very slow to get through. So we're going to go up to the second floor to be as high up in the dungeon as we possibly can. And then we're going to get some more bomb hovering right here. We're going to use that to hover up here. And once we have gained some height, we will take out the Majoras Mask to become taller to be able to grab that pillar. Now, by simply walking off and targeting at the same frame you walk off a ledge, you can basically almost always clip out of bounds in the old N64 Zelda games, by the way. There's literally nothing else to it. Once that has been done, by just doing these bomb tricks, by rolling and side hopping and backflipping at the same time the bomb explosions go off, we can continuously get momentum more and more backwards and just land in the loading zone for the boss. Because despite it not looking like there's anything out there, everything in the dungeon is basically loaded except for, you know, things like textures and enemies. But the loading zone for the boss is loaded. So by heading all the way over there and avoiding all the end of bounds stuff, you can activate the boss, and then by doing these perfect spin attacks, we can just barely stomach him, and he is dead. It is that fast. I absolutely love this fight. It is so cool. So that's it. He's done. No glitches, by the way. That's just incredible spin attacks to get him down. We're gonna walk up here and pick up our first remain, 1 out of 4, because we have to pick up all the remains for this dungeon, or for the speedrun, I should say, sorry. And you're gonna also notice that for once, we're not gonna try no fancy cutscene skips. Normally, speedrunners would like to try cutscene skip for anything longer like this. However, there's one very important caveat to the first remain, which is that the giants that are around here will teach you a song, and this song is required to be able to beat the game. So we will have to watch this cutscene to get the Oath of Order so that we can complete the game later on. But after learning the song, going through the cutscene slowly, we will pop into the overworld. Everything has been set in place. Everything is happy. We're good to go. Unfortunately, things won't stay as happy for as long, because we're about to take advantage of some sisters. So we're going to leave the area, take out a bomb, take out the Zora, and then do another speed glitch here. Once again, roll into the bomb, target, shield, and then hold the specific analog stick position right outside the dead zone. This will cap the speed of the quick explosion, pushing you backwards, which lets you slide all the way through this entire swamp. We're gonna get into the back here, and once we're here, we're now going to do the kind of Lost Woods mystery area. Now, you don't actually have to follow the monkey, in case you don't know. If you know the order, which does change every single day from correctly, you can get through this. And there's a very important reason why we are at the specific time of day that we are, and on the second day, which is that the witch's sister actually leaves the potion shop to go look for her sister in this path. So by talking to the witch that's down on the ground, we're going to be able to go backwards now through this order and meet up with the sister, which is a lot faster than climbing up the ladder and going in the potion shop. We're going to tell her, hey, we found your sister. She's weak. She's going to give us the potion. Unfortunately, she's never going to get it. Sorry, you're going to stay sick. We need the bottle. The reason we do all of this right here is not because we want to save the sister. We just wanted the bottle, and this is the quickest and easiest way to get a bottle. So we're going to enter this little grotto right here, pick up some nuts, pick up some sticks, which is going to be used later for some duplication glitches, a few more rupees, which is going to be important, and then we're going to warp away. Now, this warp is going to take us back to the Zora area. And once we're over here, we are now finally going to enter Pirate's Fortress. Now, I think, personally, this is one of the toughest things to do as a casual. Pirate's Fortress was a pain because there are so many eggs that you need to collect, and there's only so many bottles they usually have at this moment in time. Thankfully, that's why we got the bottle, because thanks to duplication glitches, by only receiving one bottle with one egg, it'll be all that we need for learning the Zora song for the 7 eggs. You're also going to notice here, by the way, that what Pope is going to do is jump up and down on the water here a few times. That's just to gain a little bit of extra swimming speed to get over to the side. Once we're here, we do not want to go through the sewers. It will be so slow to go through the sewers to get to this main part. So we got to do some more bomb hovering. So do ISGs, backflip, and shield the explosions to stay in midair. And then for the last little space, by doing a backflip right as the explosion happens, the recoil will push us back, and we're now into the Pirate's Fortress. Now, I promise you right here when you're about to watch that you're going to feel very upset, because if you play this game casually, trust me, you probably got caught 1,000 times, unless you're just a Giga Chat. But you're going to notice that speedrunners who really know the kind of hit detection of these enemies, you don't really need to be careful. So we're going to run straight into the middle, slash the sword on that girl right there to immediately get her down, not have to worry about any of the other ones. And here we're gonna do the most ruthless thing of all. Get infinite sword glitch, do a super slide. Because this sword is being swung every frame, it will hit the guard while we are super sliding backwards to knock her down, to then walk into this room, shoot down the beehive to scare all of these pirates away to get the hook shot accessible to us. Now, once we have that, we're quickly going to drink the red potion, jump down here, go into the room where we finally can go and get our hook shot. Now, this hook shot, believe it or not, has turned out to be the most broken item in the game, because we're about to come up soon on the new glitches that have been found. But that being said, I'm getting ahead of myself. For now, we're going to jump down into the fish tank. We're going to grab our first and only, thankfully, Zora egg. We're going to play the ocarina, warp back to the beach. And once we're here, we're now going to go into this laboratory and drop the 7 eggs. And we're coming up on a new glitch here you haven't seen before. And this one is called Equip Swap. So we're going to see that we're going to do here. So we're going to pause the game. We're going to hover over the bottle and then flick our inventory left and right, equip the bottle again, drop the egg. But once we've dropped the egg, you're going to notice that when we open up the pause menu here, if I pause for a second, the Zora egg is still in the bottom left, but now where the ocarina was, there is now a bottle. So what just happened? Well, how this glitch works is when you hover over an item in the menu and you swap screens by pressing the L button, the game is going to remember the item that you were hovering over. In this case, it was this bottle with the Zora egg. Then when you swap the screen back to the item screen, the game needs to take 1 frame to update what item is supposed to be selected. And here comes the exploit. If you, on the first frame possible, press both upright and the button to equip an item, it will equip the item in the top left slot, but not update what it should be selecting. So it's going to select the Zora egg instead of the ocarina. And this can be done an infinite amount of times. So he's going to do this over and over again to duplicate the same egg to be able to have all 7 necessary to learn the song. Now, you might have noticed, wait, we just lost our Ocarina of Time. Isn't that a problem? Technically, yes, but you can notice that the ocarina in the top right is still selected. And as long as we never fully unequip it, it will be fine. So don't miss-equip. Let's just put it that way. Because if you accidentally, let's say, equip bombs over that ocarina now, the run is pretty much screwed. Thankfully, we're going to be fine. So drop all the eggs. We're going to learn the song. Thankfully, here's another beautiful cutscene skip right here, because since it takes a little bit of time for a cutscene to start, by mashing the start button and the ocarina button at the same time, you can play the ocarina and get the song added to your inventory, but not have to watch the cutscene. So we just learned the song before entering the Zora dungeon, but we never have to watch the cutscene. So we're going to play it, we're going to warp out, and now we are ready to continue. You're going to notice that right here, we're going to go to Milk Road. Now that name is not by accident. Believe it or not, what changed this route after years of having a consistent route, it was the discovery with drinking milk. I'm not kidding you. Milk is the most broken item in the game now in combination with the hookshot. So we're going to go here. We're going to talk to these people. We're going to purchase a bottle of milk. And once we have that, we can now finally warp away and head over to the next dungeon. We're gonna go to Snowhead. Now, there is a problem with Snowhead. We never learned the lullaby. You're supposed to learn the lullaby to make the big Goron fall asleep, fall over the edge, and you're good to go. Fortunately, speedrunners are very fast. Unfortunately, this glitch is very hard. So, remember earlier how I mentioned that you can't fall off of a ledge as long as you're swinging your sword every single frame? Well, right here, basically, we're doing a hyper extended super slide backwards by rolling into a bomb and shielding it. And while we have that active, the sword is being swung every frame. So we actually cannot fall off of the ledge. So by carefully pausing the game here and slowly turning our basically hyper slide backwards here, left to right, we're able to slowly make our way back and try and avoid all the snowballs. That was very close. So we will get through this entire area and hopefully we can get up this ramp. And once you're up this ramp, you're basically safe, because as long as you never lose infinite sword glitch, you will not fall off the ramp, and you just have to watch out for the snowballs. And once we're up here, we can now start kind of just rolling. That is so close. You can see here, every time he starts to blow us off, he won't, because we have infinite sword glitch enabled. And now we will go to this ledge, line ourselves up, and in between the two blows, enter the dungeon, and we're good. Now here is where the run gets very complicated. If you didn't think this run was complicated already, this is where we're gonna have to start pausing a lot, because there's a lot to explain. This is some of the most complicated glitches in the run. I'm going to simplify them as much as possible to try and give you an idea of what's happening, but it's gonna be impossible to explain all of it. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna enter this first room, we're gonna take out our hook shot, then we're gonna side hop and basically take out a stick at the same time as this text box appears. Now, what that is going to do is it's going to have the game kind of take out the stick, but it got interrupted at the same time. All of this is setting up a glitch shown as action swap. So what is going to happen by doing all of that is that when you take out the stick a second time, this will happen. A fire arrow will shoot out of your basically hook shot slash stick. Now, it's a very complicated reason why it works, but simply put, to save memory, timers in this game share values. So the timer for how long a stick can burn and the sound that your hook shot should play is actually shared internally in the game. Because of that, with a lot of more complicated reasons, by doing that convoluted glitch, you can have a fire arrow shoot out of your stick slash hook shot, and it will allow you to shoot a fake one, melt the ice, and get into the main room. Now, once we're in the main room, the complicated glitches are not done. So here, Pope is going to do a super precise hook shot to get on top of this arena to this lantern. Now here we're coming up on the second trick, and this is one of the newer glitches called remote hook shot. So I'm first just going to let it play out in full, and then I'm going to explain what's going to happen. So we're going to get to this specific place, then we're going to aim the hook shot, drink some milk, turn around, hook shot, and we launch ourselves all the way up into the sky into the end of the dungeon. So what just happened? Basically, and this is why milk is one of the most broken items. If you are aiming your hook shot while holding target and then drinking milk, it's going to interrupt the hook shot by drinking the milk, and the game is going to remember, oh, hey, I am standing here and I'm aiming right here. So the next time that you take out your hook shot, the initial one where you're aiming is going to be shot. Now, you can combine that with a lot of different things. And in this case, it is going to be used by hook shotting this torch at the same time as the first hook shot hit the wall. That will basically interrupt it, fling you up in the sky. You will then take out a bomb explosion to fling you backwards, get to the top, clip out of bounds with another bomb explosion, and we're now at the boss fight. Now, if that's still complicated, trust me, there is a almost 20-minute long video just discussing the coding of why that glitch works. It is so complicated that without making this video an hour long, that's the simplified explanation. So imagine it is basically storing a hook shot remotely. Now, once we've done this, we're in this boss room, we're going to stand at this specific spot, and we're just now basically waiting for our little text of, like the, hey, Link. And that is because with the text box in mind, we can do action swap again, the glitch we did earlier, to shoot a fake fire arrow, melt the ice, and we can now start the second boss fight. Now, this boss probably gave you a lot of trouble as a kid. If you ever replay this game, I have one advice for you. Don't use the Goron. It's literally a scam. Trust me. It's easier to just use the bow and arrow. So, what Pope is going to do here is just stand here, shoot arrows in place, and anytime he knows that he's about to do an attack, he side ups to the right to not get hit, and that's the fight. Now, once we've done all of that, we're coming up on our second remain now, and there is a long cutscene for these remains. So there's going to be a very complicated glitch right here. Basically, by dropping a bomb in the warp, taking out your hookshot into hand, walking up, and then sort of doing a timing by releasing the shield and picking up the bomb, you're not going to pick up the bomb, you're instead going to pick up the blue warp. Basically, what this convoluted glitch does is it puts you in like a kind of a pick up, get item state. And by picking up the blue warp, it is going to immediately add the remain into your inventory without having you watch the cutscene. And then the bomb is going to kill Link, respawn us. We have the remain in our inventory. We don't have to watch the cutscene, and you can just warp away. So yeah, like I said, this run, it's very complicated. But it was a quick side note compared to my Wind Waker videos. Usually, I can really explain every glitch in full detail in a Wind Waker run, no problem. But with Majora's Mask, I'm having to simplify and kind of half explain some of these glitches because they're so complicated that it's just pure code, like to really explain them. So I hope if you're watching this on YouTube that you're enjoying these somewhat simplified explanations, you know, while still keeping it fairly accurate, and you're still following along what's happening. That being said, we're now over at the Zora area. Here we're doing another cutscene skip. Play the song. It's about to start the cutscene. Pause for every other frame, just like the first glitch we did in the run. That lets you get into the loading zone and skip it. And then here is a second cutscene skip. Get on top of the turtle and play Song of Double Time. Now, what is going to happen is when you play Song of Double Time, the turtle is going to actually move and kind of move you into the cutscene trigger. However, because you were in Song of Double Time, the cutscene gets skipped because the Song of Double Time cutscene takes priority. You spawn back into the overworld, no turtle cutscene, no pirate cutscene, and we can go straight into the dungeon. That just skipped 2 major cutscenes, and we're now in our 3rd out of 4 dungeons. We're coming up on the end of the run here. Very exciting stuff. Now, if you were confused about that remote hookshot glitch that I explained earlier, you're going to get a better demonstration here, but also even more confusing one. So he's going to aim at this torch, and then while aiming towards the torch, drinking milk. What that means is the next time Link takes out the hookshot, this specific place of a hookshot will be shot from, and it will go to that first torch. Now, while that is happening, it will be interrupted by hookshotting a second torch. And now we're gonna have this crazy hookshot just going out of Link's hand. Why do we want this half-interrupted hookshot? Well, because gravity just kind of gives up. You can kind of just float as you want. So you're just gonna float over to this yellow platform. We're gonna side hop up into the sky. Yeah, gravity doesn't really care once you have 2 hookshots out at the same time. Float into the main room and skip a bunch of puzzles. If you guys haven't been motivated yet, by the way, to drink some milk, please do. Like, literally look at what Link is doing. Drink your milk, kids. That being said, we're going to get up on another complicated glitch. Like I said, this run is a lot. This is why I really wanted to make this video, because there's so many complicated glitches. It never stops. So we're coming up on the next glitch called GIM, or Get Item Manipulation. What is going to happen here is that by taking out the hookshot in front of this chest and drinking the milk to set up this remote hookshot, as he's opening up this chest, it will get canceled. And this will put Link in a get item state, where the game knows he's about to receive an item, but he didn't actually open the chest, so it wasn't able to give him an item. And here's where the entire glitch comes into play. When you walk in front of a chest, the game goes, oh, he's about to receive an item. So it prepares the item you get. But here is the weird thing. In this example, I'm just going to use a fake value. Imagine that this chest has an item and it has value 20. Well, when you walk in front of a chest, it doesn't actually prepare it with value 20. It prepares it with negative 20. Don't ask me why, it just does. And then when you actually press A to open the chest, it switches this from negative 20 to positive 20 like it should be. And this is where the whole glitch comes into play. By getting this get item state and then walking in front of a chest, it will get you the negatively prepared value, not the positive value that it normally should. So, by rolling into the water and getting up to the surface, it will complete the get item state animation. So you can see Link is holding up his hands and he's actually receiving an item. And this is using that glitched value in front of that chest. And now you didn't see what that item actually was, but that was actually the ocarina. So now the ocarina has been added back into the inventory. But we're gonna do it one more time in front of this chest. Now, why are we doing it in front of this chest? Well, this chest's item value happens to be in the negatives, the light arrows. Because this game is broken, and we love that Nintendo just decided to be kind of funny wonky with how the values are set. So we get the light arrows, we clip out of bounds, swim straight into the loading zone for the boss, and you think this is normal too? No. The glitches are not done. We're never getting a break. We're going to do a weird shot, which basically kind of glitches the view you have of the bow so it's under the ground. And it's used to shoot the boss before you watch the cutscene. It completely skips the boss introduction, deals damage to him immediately, and speeds up this entire fight very quickly. You can see there's no boss music. There's nothing going on. We're basically just fighting him without being in like the kind of boss mode you would normally see. Then after that, go up on top of this desk, get on top of the platform, and then jump back into the water, use the magic armor, which deals incredible damage, and then that's the boss. Now, trust me, I feel as frustrated as you are watching that because I think I can speak for almost everyone when I say this boss was one of the hardest bosses casually. But speedrunners, we make it look like an absolute just snooze fest. After that, the same glitch that was done in the last dungeon is going to be repeated right here. So, do this weird convoluted glitch with a hook shot, bomb to pick up the warp, which adds the remain, like I said, into your inventory, but skips the cutscene, and then have the bomb explode to put us back to the start of the dungeon. And once we're here now, we have 3 out of 4 remains, only 1 dungeon left. Now, the very good thing about this last dungeon is that most of the time in the next dungeon is normally spent just heading over to get the light arrows. But since this glitch was performed to get the light arrows early, the Gim glitch, we don't have to worry about that. Now, one very important thing to mention here, by the way, you're gonna notice that he's gonna drop 3 bombs. He's gonna pick up a fairy with a bottle. After picking up the fairy with the bottle, he is going to slide to the side and drop the fairy. Now, all of this is very complicated, but the simple explanation, if we look at the inventory, if we pause here, do you see that he has 2 bombs in the top right corner? What Pope basically set up right here is that he duplicated the bombs onto another slot, and now he is duplicating a bottle over his bomb slot. This may make no sense at all, and trust me, it basically doesn't until we get later in the run. But just remember this, okay? We currently have a fake bomb slot equipped on our C button, and the actual bombs in the inventory no longer exists. If we pause the game and we look, there's a bottle over it. Bombs are gone. Now, once we get to this next area, we're gonna do a really cool trick. I love this glitch. So shoot the light arrow perfectly angled towards the eye. Right before it hits the block, walk on the switch. It pauses the in-game time, moves the block behind where the arrow is kind of waiting in midair, and then when time unfreezes, it will hit the red switch and flip the entire area. Incredibly precise trick, by the way, I should mention. That is not easy to perform. After that has been done, we can enter the inverted stone tower temple. Now, if you thought that you had seen a lot of weird glitches and hovers, it's not done. This speedrun is never done when it comes to the complicated glitches. So first, we're gonna start with something a little bit more normal. Equip bomb boost to get the little extra momentum to go over here. Now here, we're coming up on a glitch that I haven't really explained before yet, but this is crucial to know. So, what Pope does here is he slashes his sword and takes out the ocarina, and he's actually going to start falling towards the void while he has the ocarina in his hand. And then he's quickly going to play Song of Time, but it will get interrupted before the cutscene starts. And the only thing you need to know about this is that the game will remember this. So the next time a cutscene, or like a text box, I should say, come up on the screen, it will remember that he was playing Song of Time. But once that has been done, we're gonna do some of the most complicated and precise hovers in the world. So a bunch of precise bomb hovers here by shielding these damages and doing some mega backflips will put us into the loading zone. Trust me, it's out there. You might not see it, but he just went basically around a bunch of out of bounds rooms. That is is where the actual loading zone is if we were to go through the normal rooms. Gets into the loading zone for the boss. Now, once we are at Twin Mold, we don't have the Giant's Mask, and we don't really have any, you know, elemental arrows. So just have to hope for no NA aim. Normal arrows deals very little damage if you hit the end of this tail, and a light arrow will deal some extra damage, but they take a lot of magic and they're slower to shoot. So you just have to hope that you don't miss any of the light arrow shots to take down the damage for Twin Mold. There's 2 of them, and thankfully, if you don't miss any of them, immediately Blue Twin Mold is down. And after Blue Twin Mold is down, we have the second one. Now, what Pope is going to do is open up his menu, read the description of an item, and it puts up this text box. Now, remember earlier how I mentioned that Song of Time got interrupted by voiding out? This is why that glitch was done. By getting a new text box up on the screen, the game remembers, it kind of stored it, that, hey, we're supposed to play Song of Time. So with just reading any text box, which can be done through just reading an item description in the pause menu, the save and return to Dawn of First State box comes back up on the screen. Now, the reason this is so useful is because normally you couldn't walk around or interact with things while this text box is up on the screen. And that is the entire purpose for setting up this glitch. Because what is going to be done here is the second Twin Mole is going to be defeated, the Remain is going to spawn, and then you're going to walk into the Remain, and then right as you pick up the item, you click go back to first day, the game is going to save, and then you can just soft reset, and you got the Remain. It's an entirely new form of cutscene skip. Now, here is something important I want to note. Look at the top right. His bow and arrows is at 0. That's how it should be. But his bombs was at 12. This is why this weird kind of glitch took place where you made a duplicate bomb and then you basically duplicated a bottle over the bombs. Because by removing the bombs from your inventory, the game never cleared out your bomb count like it normally would when you go back in time. Because there was no bombs in inventory. Hey, look, there was just a bottle there. It's all legit, don't worry, game. So by doing that, he now has bombs, and he will use that to hover over that door right there. It's hard to see because he's against the wall, but he hovers against the door to backflip into it because the top of the clock tower doesn't actually have collision. And that is just done so we don't have to, you know, play a Song of Double Time like over and over and over again to make it the final night. So you can see we're actually here during the daytime now. Now, once we're here, I'm going to summarize this. You're going to play Oath of Order. You're going to get all the Giga Chads walking up to the moon. They're going to be like, no, I'm not going to let you crash. The Majoras Mask comes off the body. So it goes up into the moon and the final boss fight area comes up. And once we're in the moon, a super quick super slide here by rolling into a bomb explosion as it pops off. Super slide all the way over to Majora to initiate the final boss fight. Now, this boss fight, I cannot stress enough. Even as a speedrunner, so many world records have died to this boss fight. It is not only difficult as a casual, but as a speedrunner, especially when you don't have enough equipment, it is so difficult. Not only is it difficult, it is RNG based to a certain extent. If you check out Pope's Squidward afterwards, which I definitely recommend, thank you so much once again, Pope, for letting me use this VOD, you're gonna see that there's a good chance that he will get to this boss fight and straight up die, because it is just that difficult. And he's one of the world's best Majora's Mask speedrunners. So there's a few different strats that can be done here to speed this up. For first phase, use the Zora, throw the fins to stun him. Immediately switch back to human and shoot a light arrow. And this will be done over and over again to take down all the damage for the first phase. Now, you want to make sure that you're trying to look against this wall, because all of these masks that come off here, they will try and just shoot you and they will ruin your run. But there is one thing that is in our advantage. Because this is a Nintendo 64 game, if anything is off screen, it doesn't exist according to the game. So by keeping the camera in this very specific way, the masks are unloaded and will not shoot him unless they're right by. That's why you can see that Pope ended up shielding, because one of those masks was super close to where he was. Now for a second phase, you have to pray you get good RNG, because you want him to run into a corner so that none of the masks are on screen and they're far away from you, because otherwise they will hit you. Now, if you get lucky, like this wrecker did, you will see he will jump slash and then jump slash right as he's about to run off, spin attack, jump slash, and stun lock him so precisely that you will get him right in the right spot and just take him down that fast. I cannot overstun. Like, I'm getting stressed just watching this. Those jump slashes and spin jumps are so precise, and the timing to not have him run away is incredible because he runs really fast. Oh, I'm getting pumped just watching this again, and I know he's not gonna fail. Now, for this last phase, he's gonna throw a bomb to purposely manipulate the last boss to jump back in the arena to get far away from the masks. Now here, it's gonna be tense. You have to jump slit this guy about 15 times. Any missed timings, he will jump away, your run is dead. But if timed perfectly, he will be stun locked. And if you do it right, you take down the third and final phase for Majora. That is time, and that is the incredible speedrun of Majora's Mask. Speedrunners are able to complete all 4 dungeons and beat the game in only about an hour and 13 minutes. Currently, all runners are trying to go for a 1:12. So absolutely incredible job. I want to say quickly, once again, thank you so much, Poke, for allowing me to break this down. I have speedrun Majora's Mask in the past, which is why I know most of these glitches already. However, it is such a crazy speedrun that it is so difficult to explain all of this while live. So this is one of the few games where I chose not to do a live commentary like I usually do. I also want to know, let me know if you guys want to see more of these speedruns kind of broke down. Normally, I only really cover Wind Waker, but if you guys enjoy these kind of glitch explanation videos, even the more complicated ones, let me know because I wouldn't mind doing other ones as well. I have been considering maybe even doing an Ocarina of Time one, 100%. So if that is something that would interest you, let me know. Leave a comment down below and let me know what games you want to see me cover next. But that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more Majora's Mask stuff, be sure to check out speedrun.com/mm. There's a bunch of amazing runners in the Majora's Mask community. If you want to see more content from me, then you can click on the 2 videos on the screen right now that YouTube thinks you're gonna like. But that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube for more awesome content like this, and I will see you all in the next one. Later, everybody. Bye-bye.